Business Insider did a whole expose on who's doing the great thing, who's not so much. Let me welcome to the show reporter, airlines specialist. I think that's his beat, Mr. Tom Pelini. Welcome to the Karen Hunter Show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so were you doing welcome? Were you the airline guy before COVID, or did you get this beat after COVID?
I've been an airline guy my entire life. So I was covering airlines at Business Insider since January. And then, into February, late February into March, we started hearing about COVID. And then from there, it started, it was all COVID from March until around, it was still to this day. But yeah, we were covering COVID at Business Insider since early February.
All right, how much have you flown, Tom Pelini, since COVID hit?
Since COVID, well, if we're marking the start of COVID being mid-March, I've taken around 7 flights, and all of them were in June. I didn't fly at all in March, April, or May.
Okay, where did you go? The first place that you went, and was it for the job, or because you're a wild boy?
It was a little bit of both. I went down to Atlanta in early June to say
Uh-oh.
goodbye to an aircraft that Delta was retiring, and I did write about it for Business Insider. But it was a mix of covering it for a professional, but also a mix of I wanted to see the plane on its last day.
Now, were you scared when you got on? Because you fly a lot, but this is different.
This is different. It was a jarring experience. So I was flying out of Hartford, Connecticut. I usually fly out of New York, and I stepped out of my car into the parking garage, and the first thing I saw was a big sign that said "Face masks are required" in the Hartford airport. So okay, put my face mask on, walked in the door. It was pretty empty, so I wasn't immediately hit with the oh God, what am I doing? Should I really be doing this? But I get to the gate. We're about to board. I see Delta's really good about telling people what they're doing in terms of cleaning their plane. So you had a big sign above the gate that said, "Don't worry, we're cleaning and sanitizing your plane. We're blocking middle seats. We're doing social distancing. We're doing everything. You don't need to worry." So okay, we get on the plane. They board it back to front so that I don't have to walk past the crowded plane to get to my seat. I sit down. I'm feeling good. It's the first time I'm on a plane in a few months, and then all of a sudden it hits you. It's like, oh God, what am I doing? Should I really be sitting here? Is it really okay to be on a plane right now? That lasted maybe 30 seconds, and then it was back to normal. We took off. We had a great flight, and I never thought about it again.
Okay, so the people normally who have first class tickets, they get to come on first. You're telling me Delta's not doing that anymore?
Some airlines still do it. I think American and United is still doing it, but I believe Delta, they boarded back to front. So it was, if you were in the
That's
last row,
just
you got on the
logic.
plane first.
You just gonna have to suck it up, you first classers. All right, you flew other airlines, so you did this whole thing on which airlines are getting it right, which ones are getting it wrong. So let's start with the ones that are getting it wrong right now.
Sure. So I flew 4 airlines. I flew Delta, Southwest, United, and American. They're known as the Big Four. They're the 4 largest airlines in the U.S. in terms of how many planes they have. Uh, Delta was getting it right. American, I have to say, they got it consistently wrong, and it wasn't just me. I've gotten tons of emails from readers saying that they've experienced the same. American, it was almost as if there was nothing going on. It was like any other day in the world. No pandemic happening. It was, I booked basic economy. I fly on my own. I booked the cheap seats. So I was booked in basic economy, and the plane was pretty full, but there were still open rows. And what seat assignment do I get? I get a middle seat in the packed row, people on either side of me, and I'm looking at the seat map, and I'm like, this isn't right. How can you assign someone a middle seat? I get that you're not blocking middle seats, but if you have other seats open, don't put me in a middle seat first straight away. So I get to the airport. I tweet American. I'm like, hey, there's a pandemic going on. Is there any way I could get a window seat or an aisle seat? Just not anything but the middle seat. And they said, oh, let's go speak to the gate agent. So I did. I went up. I asked nicely, hi, are there any other seats available? Oh, normally we don't change these seats, but here you go. Here's a window seat in the back of the plane. I gladly took it. I got to the row, and I was the only one in the row. And boarding completed. They closed the doors. Everyone was looking around, and guy 5 rows ahead of me, he came back to my row. He saw there was an open aisle seat, so he was in the middle. He took the open seat. So that's the first thing I noticed. That was my third flight back. That was what I experienced.
What about meals? Because I am never eating on a plane again, just because I don't trust it. It's airborne. Something's gonna get on it. I don't know. How are they doing the nuts, and the snacks, and the drinks?
Sure. Yeah, if you're flying less than 2 hours, don't expect to have that if you're flying on American or United. But if you're flying on Delta or Southwest, they've been pretty good at keeping service even on the short flights. So on Delta, they give you a little plastic baggie. It's got a water bottle. It's got almond. Well, mine had almonds, and it had a granola bar. And then Southwest, they give you a little snack package, which has I think it was Cheez-Its, some pretzels, and maybe some little bread crisps. And they came around with ice water, and they left a little tray out on the galley. But yeah, for shorter flights on American and United, they're not doing a meal service or snack service or beverage service. I spoke about it in my article. It's just boring when you fly them because there's no service to break up the flight, even if it is just a little drink.
Okay, so American sucks. Delta's dope. What about Southwest?
Southwest was a close second to Delta. I ranked them number 2 just because I thought that Delta was doing just a little bit more to convey the fact that flying is safe. They were doing a little bit more there, and then Southwest. So their boarding procedure is if you check in exactly 24 hours on the dot, you're going to get a good boarding assignment. If you check in an hour before the flight, you're going to be the last person on the plane. That's just how they do it because they don't assign seats. It's all open seating. But if you're the first person on the plane, you're going to sit in one of the first rows. So everyone who gets on the plane first, they're filling up the front of the plane. The people that board last, they have to walk past all those people. So that's something that they haven't addressed. And then I also noticed that they weren't as, unlike Delta, they weren't displaying enough informational signage to really tell passengers what they were doing to keep the plane safe. Having said that, though, the planes were immaculate. They looked like they had just been delivered to the airline the day before. They were clean. I had no issue on Southwest. I just thought Delta was doing a little bit better.
Are the flight attendants and the pilots wearing masks on every flight? Did you notice that?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm
writing this down.
In the beginning, some people reached out and said that there was some non-compliance among the staff, but every flight that I was on, everyone was all masked up. All
right, United, they're number 3 behind ahead of horrible ass American.
United's number 3. I flew on United last week of June from Orlando to New York, stopping in D.C. They're not blocking middle seats, but they're doing something interesting where they're not going to assign anyone a middle seat unless the flight fills up. So what does that mean? If 100% of people book tickets on that flight, middle seats are going to be full. But if only half of the people or 60% of the people book it, they're not going to give anyone a middle seat. So it's a half gesture. It's the luck of the draw on whether or not you get a full flight. And then what they're saying is if you get a full flight, we're going to let you change it to another flight for free of charge. Okay, I get it. But again, I booked the flight that I want to take. But there's so few flights nowadays that if you give me a backup and it leaves 6 hours later, or in my experience, it was 25 hours later was the next flight, I'm not going to take that flight. So it's a gesture, yes, but it doesn't mean anything unless you start providing backups that depart and arrive at the same time. But they were good. They gave wipes to every passenger. But again, you get on the plane, you say hi to the flight attendant, and then you don't see them again for the rest of the flight. So, but they were in the Washington airport.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
One of the things that that I noticed was that when we were like at the beginning of the pandemic, like you could like book a flight for practically nothing, right? Are you seeing that we're returning back to normal pricing for flights currently, or do you think that the flight pricing is going to be even higher now, given the fact that planes are? How long can we survive? Can the industry survive at 60% capacity on most planes?
Yeah.
Right. I've noticed that close-in bookings, like within 2 weeks, the prices are sometimes exorbitantly high, like higher than what you would expect. But I've looked at airfares, throughout the summer and into the fall, and United specifically, and I only look out of New York, so apologies for anyone not in the area. But I've seen New York to Austin, Texas for $30 round trip on United, Nashville, Tennessee, $30 round trip. Again, they're hotspot cities, but if you're willing to make the trip, I see Florida. You could fly to New York from New York round trip for $50. That's on United. That's on the low cost carriers.
No,
American as well. I've noticed that Delta's usually just slightly higher, and of course that's because they're blocking the middle seats. But I don't think they're going to jack up the prices. I haven't noticed that.
What about internationally? Like, I want to go to an island and stay and not come back. Like, Bermuda has no COVID cases. Bermuda has no COVID-19 cases. I'm like, will they let us fly there? And how will you know whether we can leave from America to go to these places?
Yeah, that's the hard part, is that every country sets the rules. There's no one set rule. Bermuda, they might be letting in Americans, but you have to check with the local tourism agencies. There are almost 200 countries in the world, if not more, and keeping track with each individual one is a problem for Americans. That's not something you have to worry about, is when you get there whether or not you'll be let in because of this. But I would say don't plan to go to Australia anytime soon. Don't plan to go to South Africa anytime soon. Europe, probably not before the end of the summer. Anywhere else, just, Google, can I enter this country, and see what comes up.
Wait. So you're telling me I could get on a plane, land there, and they're like, you're from America, you can't come in?
Yeah, there's some airlines that are operating. You could fly right now from the U.S. to Europe. There are flights, but yeah, there are some countries who just won't let you in because you're from America.
Wow, that's a flip. When did that happen? Oh.